loud. Is this how do you say your name, Harun?
You just said, are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Haroon.
Harun. Okay.
Sounds like maroon the color. Am I the
Okay.
only person here?
Yeah, because I haven't I was out for probably like 2 weeks, maybe three, so it's probably not even going to be a lot of people today. So
Oh, okay. Well, I was typing
anyway,
my question in because I thought it would be more people, but I'm just wondering, oh, and I'm glad you're feeling better, by the way.
thank you.
How far do you go back looking to see where to start charting? For instance, on a 4 hour time frame, how many candles back are you looking for setups? And are they still valid if it's like more than like, you know, 4 or 5 candles?
Okay, so let me share my screen because the question about how far do you go back when you're looking for levels, that could be like however as far back as you need to find a level. So I'll show you an example. Um, I'm gonna share my screen right now.
Sure. Got no place to go. Good.
Okay. Oh, wait, I gotta go to the Zoom to share my screen. Okay, let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay, good. All right, so for example, let me go to a cleaner. Okay, boom. This is a cleaner chart. All right, so I'm on the 4 hour right now, right? So
Okay.
this is a really good example of how far you should go back. So let's say we were charting it right now and I'm looking for levels. I might say, like this is where price is now. You always start where it is currently and just walk it back. So this candle in particular is not going to close until 1 o'clock. It's got one more hour on it. So we'll just keep walking back until we find a level and you'll look here, right? Like very
Right
obvious,
next to the imbalancing candle.
right next to the imbalancing candle. We mark the level where the balancing candle or the smaller candle, we mark that level where it opens. Now, oh my goodness, hold on 1 second.
I lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously going down from where price is now, it's going to be easy to find levels, right? But can you guys hear me on the Okay. It's going to be easy to find levels. But what about looking up top? This is where we're going to have an issue, right? Like there's nothing above price really. Like this was a level here, but it's already kind of been sliced through. This is a level here, right? But what
Yeah.
about beyond it? This is where we start going backwards. So where I'm going to just condense my candles and I follow this white line all the way across until I get to the next level.
Ah, okay.
So let's say this level was the date here was March 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would have already marked this back in March, right? If you're just starting today, you wouldn't have this, but I would have already marked this level back in March, right? So I would have marked this here. And that's why when you're looking on my chart right here, when you're looking on my
It's a
chart like
bug.
this,
Yeah.
that's why you see all of these other levels, right? Because time just marches on, but you don't remove the level until it's been triggered, right? And I
Okay.
think that was your second question. How do you know when to remove a level, right?
Uh, no, just how do you, yeah, if it's still valid.
Oh, if it's still valid. Okay, so let's use this example still. And I'm just going to drag it out to today. Like this is where we would have marked this level, right? Where this
Right.
candle opened and then at the top. So as you can see, it triggered one time already, right? It triggered
Right.
on May 19th. So for me personally, the way I trade, I would take this off. I would remove this level. But other people might say, well, a 4 hour level, that's really strong, right? It's not a 15-minute or a 30 minute, it's a 4 hour level. So they might leave it up there and potentially take it again when it comes back. Or they may leave this line here and call it support and resistance. Instead of looking at this as a true level, they would say, well, this level could offer me some resistance if we get back up here because it was respected.
Gotcha.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Back on April 23rd or March 23rd or whenever it triggered the first time.
Yes, it triggered the first time. So now
Okay.
let me draw this zone again though, because I want to give you another perspective. Am I Trippy Red's mom? No, I don't even know who that is. Sorry, I'm on I'm on live too. Okay, so if you look, you see how this zone was triggered, but it wasn't pushed through.
Yeah.
So this means that the zone is still valid. A zone is not fully broken until price comes and pushes all the way through like this. Like it goes all the way through it.
Right. Okay.
So that is when it comes to your trading prerogative, how you want to trade. For me, I don't trade them again. But I have seen plenty of times where one zone, especially a higher zone, like a 4 hour, a 6 hour, a 12 hour, I've seen plenty of times where the zones will trigger one, two, three times before finally breaking through. You know what I mean?
Okay. And that's called resistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can keep it's up to you how you want to trade it. I once it's been triggered once, I take it off, but I would definitely say, maybe change the color of your line to let you know it's been triggered before and just watch how they perform, watch how the zones perform, watch how they react to see if you want to continue to trade those.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah.
That answers the question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey Robin, Serena, Brianna. Is it Brianna or Brianna?
Hi, Candice.
Brianna. Hey.
Okay. Hey,
Hi, good morning.
good morning. But yeah. Um, does anybody have any questions? If not, I was actually gonna talk about like trend lines and channels.
I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
I I hear the term like fresh zone.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to get that in my mind, like exactly what that looks like. Like, is that just like a zone that has not been tested? Is no wicks going through, like
Hmm.
nothing at all? Okay.
Yep. So let's use the same example that we were showing her room right here. It's not exact, but So this zone was a 4 hour that formed back in March. It was tested here and did what it was supposed to do, right? Um, in mid-May. And so now that it's been triggered one time, even though price didn't go through, it's not broken. It's just been tested, right? So now I would not consider it fresh. Fresh would be fresh would be all the way back through here when nothing has touched it yet. That's
Okay.
all I'm
Thank you.
saying. Hmm.
Candace, I noticed that you have all these new lines on your chart. Can you explain what these are and how you utilize them?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I was gonna talk about like all my little crazy lines, right? I have always, so y'all, I started off. So supply and demand, I'm gonna take it off now just to be a little cleaner. So supply and demand is like very cut and dry, right? Like the make the levels, make the zones, trade the zones. But as you guys have seen here lately, we've been getting some like really choppy price action. Oh, hold on. I didn't know my what's the name wasn't on. I didn't know my camera wasn't on. My bad, y'all. We've been getting some really choppy price action. And so when I started out trading, I was trading options and I was using a lot of like technical indicators like trend lines and EMAs and VWAPs and stuff like that. So candlestick patterns and chart patterns. And although I don't um use them like every day, I still like to look and see like what they're doing, especially trend lines. So today in the trade recap I posted, I was talking about like the trend lines and the channels that I was using. And so this is an example here of a channel, um, right where here we go, where we look at the chart and we notice that price is just kind of ping pong and bouncing back and forth between these two levels. And a channel can be it can be parallel. If y'all ever see me type and I say we got a chop box, chop boxes are parallel, right? Like this. So like this here would be a chop box where we're just like literally chopping parallel between a range. Channels are typically, well, they're parallel too, but they're not horizontal. So they're going in a direction, right? Like this one, we're still kind of chopping back and forth, but we're going either up or we're going down. And so I will look to see, do we have any of that going on? Because if so, I know if we're choppy, I can catch a scalp breaking out of the box or the channel. So like I was watching this channel it might have been like last week that this channel was in play. And once we broke out of it, you see, we like broke out. We broke out of the channel, retested it, and then took a huge dive down. So the longer that you are in chop, which could be a channel, it could be a chop box, the better your break is going to be. So, like here, we were chopping in here in this range, and then finally got a breakout and got a really strong move down. So, these are some of the things that you see that I will draw. Let me remove this and remove this. And including, so channels and chop boxes, and I will also draw trend lines. I typically draw trend lines on the 15-minute. Like, so let's just look at this for instance. Dad, hold on, because I had it. Let me go to my actual chart and see where I had it. Okay, boom, because this is what I was looking at today. This trend line right here started way back here on the 23rd. So that was 5 days ago. And, our trend started here and then it got tapped. So the first one where I started it was initial tap once, then price moved, it came down, touched it again, tapped twice. This is when I drew the trend line after these two data points right here, 1 and 2. Okay. And then it came down and tapped it again sometime overnight. So after it hit that trend line 3 times, I'm like, okay, the next time I'm going to be looking for it to break through, right? We've tapped 3 times, 1, 2, 3. The next time I'm looking for it to break through. And I also use these because let's say this had happened during the day session, like during the 9:30 session, I would have used this to kind of take a trade off of as well, right? Because I would have been like, oh, we've only tapped twice. Price is probably still gonna respect this line. And that's what it did, right? It came up and respected it. And this time it broke down. So I don't use these to particularly like take trades. Like I primarily trade with supply and demand. But let's say that trying to think of an example. Let's say that I had a demand zone right here and a trend line coming through. That would just be more confirmation. Like we have a demand zone and it's tapping a trend line that has, only been respected once or twice. In that case, like that's more confirmation for me to take a buy, to take a reversal. So those are the lines that you see.
That makes sense. How do you know? You mentioned that once it's tapped it 3 times. So
Mhm.
are you always looking for that specific amount, like specifically three, or like how do you gauge that?
Yeah, specifically three. And just like anything, like nothing, just like even our supply and demand, like nothing is 100%, right?
Right.
But usually, like even if you drill it down to the lower time frames, like if you draw on the 5 minute and then watch it on the 1 minute, that 1 minute is gonna just, keep tapping that line, keep tapping that line. It's gonna take it a couple of times before it finally decides to break through.
And then key levels are also just another kind of indicator that you watch for when it's a choppy market.
Yep. And let's say there's a lot of space between, let's say there's a lot of space between our zones. So like if we look at where we started today, and I know you can't see the exact candles because it's small. I want you to just look kind of big picture. This was where my cursor is 925. Um, so if you look where we were today, this is 925. Our zones are here and here, right? So that is a good, hold on, let me move this out the way. If we opened here, let's say 940, we're at least, 30 to 40 points from the supply and 40 points from the demand, right? So we got a good 40 points in between there. So I like to look for places where we could also have reversals. And the way I do that is just by zooming out on the chart and looking at where were the areas before that gave us immediate reversal points. And so can you see this here?
Yep.
This area on the 5 minute. And if I zoom in, I think it was, let me see. Yeah, so this area, this was on the 5 minute. Give us a quick reversal. And I'll look for these both to the upside and the downside. Now, today, this was not like, usually when I'm looking for a key level, I want it to be like this. Y'all see this wick right here?
Yep.
I want it to be a really strong wick like that, okay? Um, Typically something like this I wouldn't mark as a key level, but let me show you why. And this just helps you. The more you like talk about it, the more you look at the market overall, it just helps you gain a better understanding of structure. So let me go to, I can go to the 1 hour, I think. Oh, and let me clean this up. Mm, 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 mm. Let me just go. Okay, yeah, this looks. I might have been on the 12 hour. Hold on. I'm just gonna like zoom out. Okay. All right, boom. So you see that we had this kind of down, we had this big downtrend, right? But we got our reversal. Okay. And so the reason I know we have a reversal is because we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. So from this low, right, we got a higher high, we broke above this, and I'm thinking back to smaller time frames now. There were some highs right here in this area, and then we came down, had a higher low, right? This low is higher than this one. Came up, got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And so now the reason why I marked that level as my key level is because I'm trying to find the right time frame to show you guys. Oh, that's why it's not clicking because hold on 1 second. Oh my goodness, my bad, y'all. All right, the key level was here. The reason why I said we needed to pass that key level was because that was the next level we needed to reclaim to get another higher high. Does that make sense?
Mm,
Kind of.
ish.
Okay, so we have to come above here. So do you see how this gave us our higher high and then our higher low
Yes.
in this uptrend? So in order for us to keep moving up, the candles have to go from here to above here. Does that make
Okay.
to keep our
And that
uptrend?
would give you a new higher high.
And that'll give us a new higher high. And then again, in order for us to continue moving, we don't want to see price come below where? We don't want to see it come below here. We want to see a higher low. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a low right here, a low right here, low, 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 oops, low. And so we don't want to see, hold on 1 second. Mm, my bad, y'all. I had screen time on my TikTok, so I don't go on TikTok. I'm live on TikTok too. Screen time on my TikTok could cut me off. So we don't want to see price get down below this level, or else that could mean we're going back into a downtrend. If let's say if we were bullish. Does that kind of make sense, y'all?
Yes, I think I just don't understand when exactly to enter. So, like, once you see that happen, where do you actually enter?
Okay, so once it gets to like a key level, if I'm looking at those,
Yeah.
so I trade key levels differently than I trade supply and demand. Um, for key levels, because it's literally like just one specific level. Um, once again. Yeah, because it's literally one specific level. I'm looking for a quick rejection off of that level. I want to see price go up to the level and create like a nice wick off of the level in order to reject. Or if we break above the level, I want to see do a candle close above the level, like a 5 minute, and then we retest the level and continue going higher. Yesterday was a good example of that. I don't think I posted a key level yesterday, but there was one I was looking at, and it triggered exactly in the morning. I think it was at like 50, might have been at like 59.12 or something like that. And it broke above and it just held. 59.12 just held and wouldn't let us get below it for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then it bounced and continued up. That would be an example. So if the level was 59.12, um, then we would want it to break above, hold, show us that it's being support, and then continue higher. So those are the ways that I would, that's why like I try to keep it like supply and demand is the main thing I try. I try to keep it mostly supply and demand, but I also feel like, some of those things like you guys can learn too when you want to.
So, when it continues to go higher,
Can y'all hear me
is
now?
that when you actually enter? Like
Yeah,
you,
so let me try to find an example. Can y'all hear me now? I'm sorry, I'm trying to
Yes.
because it was yesterday. Let me go to the 30 minute and look at yesterday. What is this? Yep, it was right here. Okay. So you guys see this, how this is like a really strong wick right here. And so when I was charting in the morning, like price probably was right around here. So these are now levels for me, right? Because this is kind of like a shelf. I want the level to make it a key level. I want the one with the really strong wick. Okay. So this one was here, and I think it was 59.12.50. All right. And so if we go, so it's even showing this on the 30 minute. Like you see how price came and closed above. We have a candle close above right here.
yeah.
And then it came down, retested it. And the retest can look like this. It can go back under, but we don't want it to close under. Okay.
Hmm.
If it closes under, then I'm out of the trade. So a lot of times these are low risk trades because if I have a candle close below, I'm like, I'm not confident in it, right? But as we can see, it pushed down, pushed back up, closed above, and then kept on going. So let me go down to the 5 minute to show better with it. So you see this? This is what was happening on the 5 minute. This is what was happening on the 5 minute that was going on the 30 minute at that time. So we didn't reach the level. It rejected a little bit before, but finally we got to push above the level. So it never touched it before and gave us a wick, right? So I wasn't looking for the rejection because it just never got there. Once it pushed above the level, and for key levels, I look on the 5 minute, okay? Once it pushed above the level and it closed above, I didn't enter right away because I'm waiting for it to retest the level, meaning now that it's pushed through it, I want it to turn into a floor. I want it to turn into support. So what happened was it came down, tested, but tested it, pushed up and closed above. Same thing, came down, tested it, and pushed up and closed above. Came down, tested it, pushed up and closed above. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I think I did enter this yesterday and I might have entered on one of these two candles and was like, man, like, will it please do something? Because you see all these chop candles,
Yeah.
but it never closed below. You see what I mean? And because it never closed below, I know that this is still being support. And eventually it finally made, you see this candle, it finally made this push up. And that's all I was looking for. This was like 8 points or so. Um,
Wait,
so
so you entered right there at that green long candle?
no, I think I entered on one of these two right here. Let me zoom in. Whoa. So for key levels, we're talking about key levels. I wait for either a rejection or a break and retest. We didn't, this was the level here. We did not have a rejection because it never came and wicked out, right? That's what a rejection looks like to me. A rejection looks like if this candle was further up and it came up and wicked out, then that would be a rejection. So instead, I'm just watching, watching, watching. And instead of rejecting, what happened? We pushed through, broke through the level, and closed above the level. So at that point, my mind switches on to now that we've broken the level, I want to wait for a retest of the level to enter for it to continue through. So what the retest looks like to me, this candle was a good retest candle right here. It comes down, it pushes back up, it's retesting this floor to see if it's strong. It pushes back up and closes above the level. So that's why I said I entered on one of these two candles, one of these two right here. I don't remember which one. Once I saw this candle close above, it was probably this one, because once I saw it close above, I entered. So it probably would have been on this candle. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it's just a matter of practicing now.
Yeah, and you can look up, like literally look up anything that says like break and retest on YouTube and you'll see the concept. And then you can apply it to like any level you want.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's why I said I entered like on one of these two and it was just chopping, 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 but we never got a close below the level. So I just stayed in it. If we had closed below the level, that would be my cue to get out. And that's why I said these are small, way smaller risk because if we had closed below, I'd have been like, okay, I'm done.
And this is on the 5 minute time frame.
This is a 5 minute time frame.
Okay.
I appreciate you showing us these other like trend lines, channels, chop boxes, and all of that stuff for extra confirmation, because the market has been so choppy and you don't feel super confident in your supply and demand.
Yeah, because it's been like hardly any follow through. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's been so choppy. So I've been thinking about adding, I know in the Discord, like I posted the Heiken Ashi, where is it? Can you guys see my whole screen or you can just see the
Yeah,
No,
I see
just your
that. Just the chart.
Thinkorswim.
okay. So in the Discord, I know I posted like yesterday the Heiken Ashi video,
Yep,
like
I saw that.
how to use those candles. I've been trying to figure out like is there, where to post these like extra things? Because I don't want to exactly put it in the course because it's not supply and demand. But I want you guys to be able to see these videos also. But people keep complaining that the videos disappear and stuff.
Hmm.
Oh, that leads me to another question. You moved the courses to a new page.
Yeah.
Do I have to re-register? Because the
You do
futures
you do have to
password didn't work.
re-register, but that page will be there like forever. So even if you like leave the Discord, you'll still have that
Okay.
access. Yeah.
All right, so I do have to re-register. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And it has an app, like the course program now has an app, so like you can do it on your phone and it's like a little more user friendly.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
What are these the orange thin line, the purple line, the blue line?
Oh, these are what are they? They're like EMAs. This purple line is VWAP, and these are kind of like I was telling somebody these are my emotional support lines. Like I don't even use them. Some traders like to just have like a bunch of indicators. I really need to hide them. But VWAP honestly is a good one to have. Because VWAP in its most general state, you can say, and this is very generic, like this is not like a hard and fast rule, very generic. But above VWAP, you're bullish, below VWAP, you're bearish. right? And so if you look at it on higher time frames, especially like the 30-minute, you know what I mean? Like once you're above VWAP, it's like you see like they're moving up. But once your candles kind of start crossing over, this is when I say it's not a hard and fast rule, because once your candles start crossing over, it can indicate like some choppiness. But like here, we're very clearly above, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And we're going up. Here, we're very clearly below, and the trend continues down. So once you start crossing over, like you see the candles here, and I'm looking at the purple line. Once you start crossing over, you can get into kind of like more like smaller movements and choppiness. But if you are wondering, man, I love that I'm like taking trades and I'm feeling good, but I wish I could hold them longer. Sometimes this is something that can help you. Like, are you above VWAP? Then like you can feel comfortable holding for a little while longer.
Got you.
Yeah. So that's all those are. Would it help if I think I can see why does it hide? Why can't I just hide them? I'll leave my lines on. I'll leave my lines on when I post the levels, but I'll take these EMAs and stuff off because I know they can be distracting. But yeah, I think. Oh yeah, so that's what the indicators were. Okay. Yeah, so and with the trend lines, right? So like let's go back to like my actual what I had looking at today. Today was like super choppy, you know what I mean? But if you look at it from the trend line perspective, it doesn't look like it was choppy at all, does it? It looked like it just broke out of the trend and just did what it needed to do. That's why I just kind of keep them up. That's why I just kind of keep them up. You know what I mean? There are some people who only trade trend lines. There's a girl called Tori Trades. She's a swing trader though, and she only trades trend line breaks. So I know we're not supposed to like confuse ourselves with a lot of different strategies, but that's just why I keep them up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy how many different ways there are to trade.
So many. And so I would suggest because yeah, I would just suggest not it's so what's it called? It's like really tempting to just strategy hop.
Mhm.
But I would suggest just trying to
Getting really good at one first. Yeah.
yep, get really good and adjust your strategy for learn how to adjust your strategy for market conditions because that's something that'll happen. People, you need to understand like throughout the year, market conditions change. The first person I ever learned from, she was a swing trader, and she looked at the market in terms of seasons. Like in the winter, price moves in a certain way. In the summer, it moves like super crazy and jagged and up and down. In the spring, it's kind of slow, like it slows down at the beginning of the year. So like she took that into account and changed her trading style as the year went on. She never changed her strategy. She would just change maybe how long she held her trades. She would change like what time of the day she would trade. You know what I mean? Things like that. So
Mhm.
you can, if you don't take to account that the market changes, you can think your strategy is bad when really your strategy is just fine. Don't change your strategy. Look at how to adjust your strategy for the market conditions. And if you can do that over and over and over, like you'll be fine. For instance, if you were just like scalping 3 or 4 points here and there on supply and demand, you would be just fine. You know what I mean? But we're looking
So
for 8 to 10 points and we're getting killed.
I have a question. How many ATM strategies do you have? For instance, I
Oh,
have a 5 point profit and a 10 point profit.
same.
yeah. Yeah, because I'm not gonna I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I have two. One super short term and one like not short term, one super short and one longer, like a 5 and a 10. It might even be like a 3 and a 10. And the reason why is because I manually adjust my like literally as soon as I place the trade, I'll go through and manually adjust where it is. Don't I look for a point value, but I'm trying to think of how to say. I look for a point value, but I will adjust it like based on how I see price action moving, if that makes sense.
So if
So,
the price action is moving really fast, you could potentially move your take profit
hmm
higher.
yep.
And can you also, at the same time, raise your stop loss?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, when you do ATM, as long as you set, as long as you set it to have both, as long as you set it to have a take profit and a stop loss. Some
Okay.
people I know don't trade with the stop loss and they only set a take profit. But if you set both of those lines will pop up on any broker that you're using, and you can adjust both up and down.
Okay.
So typically my stop loss is wild. It's something crazy, like 20 points. And I just make sure it's big enough. And then I immediately go move it to where the end of the zone is. So yeah, so dark in here. What is this? The 30-minute? Mm. Yeah, like we haven't even been really getting any good 30-minute zones throughout the day. Like look at here. Yesterday we didn't really have any.
Mm-mm.
What happened day before? Oh, well, was this Monday when it was a holiday? Okay, here was one. But see, this wick right here, this long wick that actually doesn't makes it so that this candle doesn't engulf it. Like I would have marked this as its own because of the body, but I know some people wouldn't have marked it. So this one came down and worked last week. But yes, price has been crazy. Somebody in the Discord today said that the London session has been really clean. Oh, well, yeah, look straight before we started chopping. So 12:37. We got like a little less than 10 minutes. I'm doing 45 minutes today because I have to go to my son's school for his end of year party. But yeah.
When we mark our levels, I know that that's supposed to be kind of like when we know where to enter, like our actual trades. Do
Mhm.
you ever enter like slightly above or slightly below, depending, um, just to get the trade to be triggered? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So I only do that for, and this is like very rare for me because I don't trade 15-minute zones often, but I only do that for 15-minute zones.
Oh, okay.
hmm Those shorter time frame zones can trigger like, and I know somebody in here, I mean not on this call, but just somebody in Discord trades 5 minutes of like the man zones. I would I would I would enter those a little bit early too if I were trading those. Like 5 to 15 minute, I would enter a little bit early. Like maybe 50 cents, like maybe two ticks, 50, a half a point, I'll say. A half or a quarter of a point early.
So you said
Like
how
a
many ticks?
like one or two ticks early, like just a half or a quarter of a point early.
Okay.
Because like for today, where was that demand level? Yeah, so today, like we had this little 4 hour demand right here. And on a lower time frame, if you didn't have this 59 28 50, let me just redraw it. I took it off. 59 28 50. Okay, so on a lower time frame, if you didn't have these trend line, like if you didn't have this trend line drawn, like you would have said, man, like, it bounced a couple times, like right before it got there or whatever. But I don't even worry about that anymore. I feel like I used to worry about it when I first started because of like FOMO. Like, oh, you don't want the trade to run without you. But yeah, I don't care anymore. I feel like there's always going to be like a trade coming, even though I feel like you just want to like get in and get out early and be done in the morning.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, I know. But sometimes it's just, I mean, not sometimes, it's always best to just be patient. Be patient. So yeah. But yeah, if we can get, and you guys see, like I did the same deal, I drew this trend line down. So it tapped once, tapped twice. So you better believe tomorrow or Friday, whenever we come back up to this trend line again, I'm gonna be like looking to take it, looking for a rejection off of it. But anyway,
What are the gray lines that I
you know
see?
what? I don't know what happened to my chart. At some point the extended hours got highlighted. That's just the hours that aren't our session, that aren't the EST session,
Got you.
American session. So it was like London and Asia. Hmm. But yeah. Oh my goodness, this looks crazy, y'all. All these lines. So yeah, basically, what I would do with this line now that it's been broken through, I would just take it off. And, this one down here is still being respected. So this is another area where, let me zoom out and see how many taps we have on it. We have one, two. So this is another area where, let's say price was hypothetically, price chopped around and did whatever, but it came down to this 2-hour demand around the same time that it was hitting this trend line. That's just an additional confirmation for me to take the bounce. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if it was like, even if price came down, I'd be thinking like, I'd be just looking. I'd be looking for volume because maybe it wants to come all the way down here before it bounces. So that's just how I would use the trend lines. And then if we did get that bounce somewhere around here, the next time it came, maybe I had a level here, but maybe I'd be like more cautious, like, well, it might decide to break through. It might decide to break through today. So just pay attention. But yeah.
Um, for volume indicators, I know that that's one that we look for confirmation.
Mhm.
If I can't see what number this is. I think it says key level, that green one
This
at the
one?
top left. Yes. So if you follow that all the way to where that green candle is, yeah. So let's say that the volume for that one was much smaller, but the volume to the right of that, that represented the red candle to the right, was still that large. Would you still trade that? Like, are you looking for volume for both candles to be high, or is it just for that red candle, the one on the right side, the engulfing candle?
Oh, okay. So volume I'm only looking at when it's time to enter a trade. So this was just when the level was formed. Does that make sense?
Right.
So let's say over here, if it's gonna come up and hit the level, I'm not looking at volume at that point for key levels only. So volume is a supply and demand thing because we want to see that institutional traders are pushing the price to the level that they want. We want to see that institutional traders are trying to figure out a good way to explain it. They have a price that they want, right? And they need it to get there. And so because they're going to dump a whole lot of money or either dump a whole lot of money in a stock and buy it up, or they're going to sell a whole lot of stock and, get that return. So they're taking a small hit, right, on pushing the price from here to here, just this short term, they're taking a small hit on that. They're pushing it in there quickly so that they can get the bigger reward on the other side. So that's why we're looking at volume for supply and demand. For key levels, I'm not looking at volume. I'm not looking at volume at all.
Oh yeah, so I meant like irrespective of key level. So just when you're doing supply and demand, when you're looking at those volume bars.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah. So I wanted to be the one right before either the two candles, like the candle leading up to and when it triggers and when it touches.
Mhm.
Either of those candles is fine. I'm not really worried about the candles that come after.
Got you.
Mhm. So, like, let's say the candle that would be here and then that would be here, I would be looking like coming down into the zone. I would be looking for these two, like whatever imaginary candle here and then here. I would want to pay attention to those. And the ones that come out of it, I wouldn't really look at that much because these two candles are going to be the highest spike anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And let me know if I can do like a more in-depth video on like the key levels in terms of, how to find them, the two ways to take them and what to look for. I can do something like that if you guys want.
That
I'd
that
love
would
to
be
see it.
amazing. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that.
All right. Thanks, Candace. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna record it. Yeah.